What's up guys, it's Hitch here and thank you for tuning in to UMG Weekly. So last week we left off talking about the Call of Duty Championship qualifiers and the Winter Invitationals. And this week we're going to talk about the Call of Duty Championship qualifiers and the Winter Invitationals. So last week I explained that 8 teams are going to get into one invitational to qualify for the Full Sail University in order to qualify for COD Champs. Well, this past weekend there was another online qualifier where 8 more teams were able to qualify for the regionals at Full Sail University. And again, the tournament went really well, the stream was even better than last week, and 8 more teams qualified. And those 8 teams are Denial, Final Boss, Violent Apprehension, Sigma, Curse New York, Elevate, Adversity, and Living the Dream. With that being said, our Scuff Gaming player, or should I say players, of the week go to all of the ex-Halo pros. All of Final Boss, Formal, Enable, and you can even throw Crim6 in there, have successfully made the transition from the highest competitive Halo play to now the highest competitive Call of Duty play. All of the players I just named have qualified for the regionals at Full Sail University and are that much closer to the biggest Call of Duty tournament of the year. So huge shout outs to those guys, and I wish them nothing but the best of luck throughout the next couple of months. So now we have the 16 teams that are going to Full Sail to qualify for the Call of Duty Championships. And recently, over the past week, we've seen more and more of these teams switch over to the Xbox One. Although the gameplay looks similar from a viewer standpoint, the players are saying that it's a little bit more consistent than the 360 online play. Well, I'm super excited to see the grind that's about to happen with these 16 teams because this is a $1 million tournament and it's nothing to really play around with. Next up, we have the Winter Invitationals. Curse Las Vegas basically dominated throughout the regular season play, and then postseason they just tore through the entire bracket. Curse Las Vegas is looking like a very solid team, and it might be a little scary for all the other teams that are trying to qualify for the Call of Duty Championships. But anyways, nothing but respect to Curse LV. Awesome play. If you want to see the VODs from that tournament from postseason play, I'll put a link in the description. It's just on the MLG YouTube, but it's really highly competitive play if you want to go check that out. Last week we also touched on UMG and UGC Niagara, which is happening first week of May. Now the crazy thing about this is that we sold out of team passes like 4 hours after announcing it. And some people have been speculating that people bought multiple team passes in order to resell them for higher than face value. And I hate to be the bearer of bad news for all these people that were trying to make profit, but you cannot resell these tickets for higher than face value. But if you do have an extra team pass and you're trying to transfer it, the best way to do that is contact Profit. I'll put his link to his Twitter in the description. So just talk to him and he'll get you all set up. But if you and your team are looking for one more team pass, we actually have one and we're going to do a tournament for it. The tournament is basically going to be run the same way that the UMG Philly online tournament was run. It will be through main stage games, and the date we are looking at as of now is February 28th, but everything is subject to change. But be sure to follow at UMG Events and at Main Stage Games on Twitter for more updates and information about that tournament. Some more awesome stuff that happened this week was there was a Gamers Outreach LAN event called Gamers for Giving. It was a very successful event in which they played Halo 4, Call of Duty, and also Peggle? I know what you're thinking, like Peggle? How is Peggle competitive at all? But I actually got a chance to watch the Peggle Championships and it was very entertaining. It might have just been the casters and how good they were, but I had a good time watching it. And Gamers Outreach is actually in the process of counting up the amount of donations they received and the money that they raised. But with the overwhelming support that I saw them receive over the past weekend, I can only imagine how much money they actually raised for these causes. It's always awesome to see ways that you can give back to the community by doing what you love doing. It doesn't get any better than that. Another thing that happened this past week were a bunch of YouTubers and some competitive players were able to go to a super secret Titanfall event in Los Angeles. Now I've seen a bunch of people on Twitter say that Titanfall is going to be the savior of esports, of first-person shooter esports, and I don't know. In every first-person shooter that is played at a competitive level, whether that be COD or Halo or Counter-Strike, it takes as least amount of chaos as possible and as much strategy as you can possibly put in a game. And whereas personally I think Titanfall looks like an awesome event, the gameplay is a little... I don't know, I'm not trying to be pessimistic, I just don't want to see people set themselves up for disappointment. But overall, it looks like the YouTubers had an awesome time in Los Angeles at the Titanfall event, and although they haven't been able to say much about it, I think they will be able to show some gameplay coming soon, so just keep an eye out for that. And continuing with the theme of the future of esports, Activision actually made a pretty big announcement this past week. In the past, the two big developers we've seen for Call of Duty have always been Treyarch and Infinity Ward. In Modern Warfare 3, a company called Sledgehammer was introduced a little bit to help out. Well, this past week, Activision actually officially announced that Sledgehammer will be developing the next Call of Duty all by themselves. So basically this means that Activision is going to have a 3-year cycle of whoever develops the next Call of Duties. It's going to be Infinity Ward, then Treyarch, and then Sledgehammer. And people took this information one of two different ways. On one side, people are saying, oh no, Black Ops 3 is pushed back another year, we're never going to have developer support, what are we going to do? And on the other side, some people's favorite game was actually Modern Warfare 3, and so they're actually pretty excited about it. As far as esports goes, I'm actually pretty optimistic about it because when I was watching Call of Duty Championships last year, I know that I saw Sledgehammer tweeting about watching it as a company. And anyone who was watching Call of Duty Championships last year knows how much of a spectator sport esports can be. So I hope they were able to take that information, harness it, and pump out an awesome game for us at the end of this year. And one more tiny thing that happened in the esports community yesterday was MLG announced that they will be supporting the grassroots season of Super Smash Bros. Melee. And I don't know if you know anything about Super Smash Bros., but basically it is a game that has been around for over a decade. There's basically a core group of players that have put their all into this game, made it competitive, and have fought for it for, over 10 years. They dabbled a little bit in the MLG scene in 2006, but to see a game make a comeback like this, it's probably the first time we've ever seen anything like that in esports history. And I feel like any community from the esport, like whatever game you're in, could learn a little bit from the Smash community because they basically came from nothing. They didn't have any big organizations to represent them, and they had to work really hard and grind the game and build viewers all on their own. It's just pure hard work and determination, and I think it's finally paying off. So if you want to know more information about Super Smash Bros. And where that's heading, you can follow Solid Jake or Prog. I'll put their Twitters in the description, and they're basically the best people to talk to. I don't know if you guys are subscribed to Revan on his YouTube channel, but he uploaded one of the funniest videos I've ever seen in esports. As you guys know, Revan is a player for Curse New York, but he also used to be a full-time caster. There was a little bit of a teammate squabble, and he was forced to call out, even though he didn't find any need to call out, and he just goes over the top with it. It is hilarious. I really recommend you check it out. So I will leave you guys with the question of the week, which is, what are your opinions on the future of esports, whether that be Titanfall or the 3-year cycle that Activision has for Call of Duty? Where do you think esports is headed for our community, and are you excited about it? Alright guys, that pretty much does it. I just want to personally thank you for all the support you gave last week's episode. I was a little paranoid about how it was going to be accepted, or if it was going to be accepted, and I got nothing but positive comments, and it made me feel good. But anyway, that was just a special thanks. If you have any critiques for me, put it down in the comments. I'll tweak some things for next episode. And if you want to know any of the stories that I covered, those will also be down in the description. My name is Hitch. This has been UMG Weekly, and we will see you next week. Alright guys, peace.